Hello, and thank you for clicking on the video. I've been receiving a lot of requests for people who want to know about retirement benefits in law enforcement and what is defined benefit, what does it mean? So I figure that I would spend about 5 minutes on this video talking about what that means. So when you work for a private employer, they often contribute to Social Security as well as possibly a 401k plan for retirement. But in law enforcement, for example, with me, I worked in the California law enforcement system. There is something called defined benefit in the Public Employee Retirement System, also called PERS. So what does that mean? I mean, you're young, you're just now starting out, maybe you're a student listening to this, and what does that mean? Well, what that means is if you work a certain number of years in law enforcement, usually anywhere from 20 to 27 years in law enforcement, they look at the average salary during those years and multiply by the formula that usually is a percentage, 2%, 3%. Like in my case, I had the 3% as 50 formula. What that meant is that when I arrived at age 50, I would get 90% of my salary for the rest of my life with a 2% a year increase. So as you listen to this video, think about this. Some of you are interested in law enforcement, but you're afraid. Maybe you're listening to the media and you're absorbing all the negative publicity that the media has been putting out about law enforcement. And so what I want you to focus on is, number one, you need to focus on what is your dream? What is your dream career? And if your dream career is law enforcement, and that's what you've been wanting to do for quite a while, don't let the media talk you out of it. That's number one. Number two, you need to think about how it will benefit your future. I mean, think about this right now. I know that majority of you watching this video are not 50, but some of you could be. But let's just say you were 50 today, and think about this. Say you were making full-time salary for a large department, and you were making $60,000 a year, or let's just say $6,000 a month to make it more simpler, right? So you're making $6,000 a month, and you turn 50, and you're going to retire today. And so if you were to retire at my formula, 3%, that's 90%. So let's just say you would earn $5,000 a month for the rest of your life with a 2% a year increase for COLA. That stands for cost of living allowance. So it's like winning the lottery if you think about it. So if you're now just starting out, the ideal age to get into law enforcement is 23 to 25. That's the ideal age. City and county agencies do not have an age cap. The oldest officer I ever trained was 52 years old, and that was the first time that he got a full-time job. He was 52. So there is no age cap in California for a city or state. I'm sorry, for city or county. Now for state jobs and federal jobs, there is a 35 or 36 years of age cap. What that means is you have to get a job offer before your 35th birthday, or before you turn 36. They're trying to make it safe. So like in the FBI, for example, you would get hired at age 36 or 35. You put 20 years on top of that because they force you out after 20 years. You're 55 years old. You retire in the federal system, and then you can go get a job working for a private security consulting company, making $200,000 a year on top of your retirement. So I know of some of my friends right now that have retired from California law enforcement agencies that have retired at age 50 and then got a job as a district attorney investigator or as a deputy sheriff under a different retirement system outside of PERS, and they are making a year $180,000, $190,000 a year, working those two jobs. So when you plan on applying for law enforcement, you have to think about this gold nugget, this thing that's gonna, the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. You can't just think of like, oh my gosh, I saw something on the news and it's terrifying. Yeah, well, so is driving on the freeway. California freeways are getting busier and busier every day, and more people die on the freeways every day than some of the diseases throughout our country. So I want you to be thinking about this defined benefit. And I know that a lot of people in the private sector, they hate it when they hear defined benefit. They don't think it's right that someone who works for public service at the end of 25 years, they can retire with a set amount of money. But I can assure you that if you're going to work in law enforcement, you're going to put in the sacrifices, working shift work, you're going to put in the sacrifices, missing holidays and important family events, so that you can be at work for your tour of duty. So be thinking about this defined benefit. I have a feeling that now that I've released this video, there's going to be other people asking me more questions about defined benefit, but it truly is a gold mine for law enforcement officers, and it's an investment into your future, and you need to take it very serious. Thank you for watching. Send me any questions or concerns under the comments section. I usually get notified, and I will either respond on the comments or create another video to address this. Take care and have a safe day.